Hey everybody, it's Mark Ruggiero here, Clark Commando 1983, and it is July 10th, 2024, and I'm going to make this my revised video 1 of my Learn to Play After Action report for Compass Games, The War, 1939 to 45. And I hope that some of my enthusiasm will be catchy. Now note, this will be a revised part 1, which will be in the same playlist as my part 1, which I did a week or two ago and didn't get rolling. And note, I will be leaving shortly for Consim Expo. So I don't expect to get another video up for this until after I get back on July 20th. But I am so excited that I finally got the game kind of ready to set up, ready to go. I might set up today. I don't know. I still got rules to read. If you like my content, please like and subscribe to my channel. So with that being said, I'm going to make this a real basic first introduction. First, let's take a nice little slow roll of the map. It's 2 maps. There are 1 map scenarios and plenty of scenarios, and I don't have everything in the picture here. The scale of the game is 60 miles to the hex, and the units are cores. And yes, that's right, cores for the land units. Fleets for the naval stuff and the carriers. And for the air, it's squadrons. And I'm going to show you some of those units in a moment and what the factors mean. This game includes its quarterly turns. So there's 4 turns a year. Yes, like Third Reich. But the game is nothing like Third Reich. Well, I take that back. It's a conglomeration of rules from Third Reich, World in Flames, Advanced ETO, Ernie, the designer, and now I'm going to shoot myself because I've been emailing Ernie. And what is Ernie's last name? My God, Mark, you got to really get your stuff together on this. Ernie Copley, I believe. I'll go with that. Ernie, if I'm wrong, because I'm going to send you this video, just shoot me in the head and I'll correct it next video, okay? And if you see any mistakes as I go, which I'm sure there'll be some, please let me know. So anyways, like I said, scale of the game, 60 miles to the hex, and I'm not going to repeat myself. So the game starts out 1939, the fall turn. And pretty typical, Germany is going to start the game at war with Poland. The Western Allies, which are Great Britain and France. We have a neutral U.S. and a neutral Russia and a neutral Italy, of course. So let's go over some of the counters first and what they are. And I'll start with the very basic. And I'm not going to cover all the types and this and that. But the land units are... Here's a motorized British Infantry Corps. It has a combat factor and a movement factor. Okay? That's your land units. And you got motorized, you got, and I said I wasn't going to do this, but I guess I am. You got armor. That's a weak armor unit. There's some much stronger ones. You have infantry, which everybody should know what infantry looks like. You've got, whoops, there you go, messing up the stacks with your cancer fingers, Mark. You've got light flak. Oh, that's different from Third Reich, and it is. And we'll cover what that does when we get to that part of the game. You've got, so your air units, you've got naval air, which goes on your carrier, and I'll go over what the factors mean on a fighter. You have your tactical squadrons, ground support, and whatnot. And you've got, let's see here, you've got bombers, which the British, so bombers are not the strategic type of bombers. They are the type that they're just bigger, you know, for ground support. So then you have fighters. Now on all the plane units, the factors are offensive range, how many hexes they can fly out, an interceptor range, and then a rating. Okay. And I did that wrong, didn't I, Mark? I did. See? I already made a mistake. Sorry. The middle number is offensive range. The second, last number is interception range. And the first number is their rating. So, and those are used to figure odds. So, for example, you saw a tactical, if a fighter and a tactical were fighting in air-to-air combat, it would be the 3 factors of the fighter against the 1 factor of the tactical. And to reinforce, the middle number is the offensive range, how far they can fly out to do a mission, and how far they can be used to intercept other missions, or fly defensive missions. So if they're flying in the opponent's turn also. For strategic warfare, be quite reminiscent of Third Reich in some ways, except there's a table you use, and we'll go over that when we get to that rule. You got ASW factors. You've got, I'm using the Brits here because they're closest to me. Strategic bombing factors, that's worth 2 factors. And you buy those individually, they're change. And same with ASW, strategic and tactical for air defense against strategic bombing. So you can buy these in individual factors. They're just like a lot of games where you can interchange money. Okay, the fleets. Each fleet has a rating. They're all worth 1. Basically, we'll get into the rules for that when we get there. They can move up to 12 sea zones. I'll show you a little more of the map here in a minute. And they can intercept other enemy fleet missions up to 5 zones away. And I gotta make sure I put these in the right pile. 3, 4, yes. So the map, I went over the scale. You got your mountain hexes. Where's my professional pointer? I bought this, and I never use it, and it's so much fun. But you got mountains. That's what this is. You got rivers, of course. Red is strategic hexes, which are used for some various things. You got woods. You got marsh, swamp. And you have clear terrain, and you've got, of course, borders. That's the white, or borders for your countries. Now let's see, we're gonna turn this a little bit and see if we can zoom in so you can see how sea zones are divided. There you go, nice. These dotted lines delineate the different sea zones. So here you have the Central Med, you got the Ionian Sea, Adriatic. These are beaches. That's, of course, where amphibious invasions can take place. Stand out really nice with the white. I like that quite a bit. Anything else to note about the map? Yes, I do have some things to note. So over here on the left side of the map, my left, is you have the turn record track, and you'll see it's in the fall of 39. You have a track here to track all your strategic movement points, heavy flak rating, which is used against strategic bombing and strategic warfare. And your railroad moves, which is another type of kind of like strategic movement. Charts. I'm going to try to go way over here. I'm going to use my pointer. You won't be able to, let's see, let's zoom in a little bit. Maybe we can see a little better. So up here, you got a track, which I think I'm going to end up keeping it on paper just because this can get jostled. But this is tracking your NARS, which are your national resource factors, kind of like your BRPs, your money for buying things. And you have a base, and then you have a level. And it's for the Western Allies, the Russians, your neutrals. Every country has that in this game. And then your axis, which right now is just Germany and Italy. Then over here we get the U.S. entry track, which starts at 0. This is how we'll track U.S. entry as they get closer to war, and we'll go over those rules when I actually get to that phase. Here is the different, every Army, Navy, and Air Force is rated from 3rd class to 1st rate, or 3rd rate to 1st rate. Germany starts with all 3 of their branches at 1st rate. The Soviets have Army and Navy. Everything they have is 3rd rate, and they can never improve their Navy. And the British start with their, oh my goodness, their air and their Navy's 1st rate, but their Army starts at 2nd rate, and they can improve. And the French start with a 3rd Fleet Air Force and a 2nd rate Navy and Army, which can be improved. And the U.S. is 1st rate Army or Air Force and Navy, but their Army starts as 3rd rate. The Axis, where's their track? Is way over here. Let me adjust this just a hair. So like I said, Germany starts at 1st rate on everything. And of course, Italy starts at 3rd rate on everything. And each of these boxes, let's see, each of these boxes is each quarter after, and I'll go over the rules specifically when I get to them. But as an example, like Italy's 3rd rate Army is, if you want to start improving it, after they declare war on Britain and France, they can start improving it at 1 box for each one for a cost. And I will cover that when I go over. So it's a slow process, but it's a neat way where the game, I think, represents an improvement in your technology if you choose to spend the money. And you'll want to, because the rating is a modifier to combat, impact stacking, and if you're 3rd rate, you pretty much suck. Depleted units are 4th rate, okay? Let's see, what else do I want to cover in this first video? This game, I'm gonna pull out the sequence of play. I'll go over that really quick. Oh, each country also has shipyards. And for example, let's see here, let's look at, because it's really close to me. Yeah, I know my camera work's not the best, but I love doing this. So these are your shipyards. The French have Marseille and Lorient. They have a fleet that started here in the 3 box, and you're able to, when you do your builds, and it's not cheap, but you can increase the factors till they get to 9, and then that's when the fleet launches, okay? The British start with 2 fleets, one in the 3 in Glasgow and one in Newcastle. They also have a shipyard in Southampton and one in Canada. and there's shipyard points and whatnot. And that might ring a bell if you're a GMT World at War player. So I think that's where that came from. Let's see, let's zoom back out. There's the wide expanses of Russia. Gonna move the camera a little bit. So this is taken up, this is a 4x8 table, and I want to say that this takes up about 4x6. And I'm gonna bust out my sequence of play. Another thing that I really like about this game, and I like a lot of strategic World War II games, but I wanted to do one on this because I really just think it just doesn't get a lot of recognition that I don't think it gets. So what I'm going to do here is, let me see if I can get a better camera angle. And this will be the last thing I think I show in this video. What I'm going to be doing is I will do a setup, and then once I start to play, I'll do my videos, and I will go through each segment initially and kind of cover as much as I can. This won't replace you reading the rules, sorry, but it should give you a decent idea, like my other videos, how to play and a good starting point. Okay. And I will, you know what? I'm gonna show you the sequence of play, or the terrain effects chart. See, Cancer just messes with me all the time. Each scenario, from the introductory where it's just Poland, and let me say this game has enough scenarios where you can start off nice and slow, like, hey, I want to cover this section of rules and do Poland, then do another section of rules and do the invasion of France, and then another section of rules and do a Norway invasion. So you don't have to just jump right into the campaign, okay? The rule book looks lengthy, but it's not. I think it's 100. I'll show you, but it's got a lot of examples. It's pretty easy to look stuff up. I lightly highlight mine. I'll show you the rule book, but let me show you the neat sequence of play. This particular one is for the campaign. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It looks really long, and it's two-sided. But what's great about this, and I think you did a really good job, is literally like you read the rules, you set up the scenario you're playing, and like I said, there is a player aid card for each scenario. So the Poland one is much shorter, but it's literally, you can go step by step by step. This is really helps in play, and it tries to help make sure you don't forget anything. And I think you'll see once I do the play videos, it's not that bad. It really isn't. I'm actually playing a game of this right now on Vassal, and I got a game actually in a couple hours with a good buddy of mine. And I did play this quite a bit when it first came out. I want to show you the terrain effects. There's one thing that is kind of unique if you've never played Third Reich or any of the other strategic games. And I'm going to show you the rule book here in a minute. And I recommend the rule book, the most up-to-date one. And you know what? The one out of the box I think would be fine. But there have been some updates and clarifications that are available with the rule book that is on the Compass website, I believe is the most up-to-date one. So you get this nice colorful terrain effects. And let's zoom in just a little bit. And you'll notice all types of terrain cost 1 movement point per hex. Okay, even mountains. But it does tell you the effects. So like mountains, you know, is effects on movement, none. They cost 1 movement point per hex, but Zocs do not extend into or out of mountain hexes. Para units may not drop on mountain hexes. No matter what kind of terrain you're in most cases, even clear on defense, your combat is doubled. And that's explained here in the effects on combat. Fortifications have different effects from tripled to quadrupled. When you're invading at a beachhead, things are tripled. You just read it. Oh, excuse me. And then different types of cities can add 1 defense factor or up to 3, depending on where the city is. And that would be after you've doubled or modified the regular units, right? Tells you what a shipyard is, an oil center, right? All that good stuff. So anyways, but really clear. And if you've played Third Reich, it won't be so strange. The rule book, and I'm going to show it, a piece of it, is really well written. I printed out mine. And like I said, it is a little bit lengthy, but one of the reasons, and I know there's big discussions going on this in some channels, but one of the reasons is all your charts, there's a separate booklet of charts, but are also in the rule book. The updated rule book has like these red on some of the things that have changed. There's designer notes. Honestly, how I learn a game is I read the rules, then I follow the sequence of play. So my first couple of turns are a little bit slow, but once you get rolling, you're good. And this game includes politics, land, air, and sea combat, ground support. It just literally has everything you could want in a strategic game and a playable format, in my opinion. And hey, there's even a war. The War Pacific covers the Pacific, and you can combine it. I'm not going to, for purposes of this video series, or you can play it separately. So anyways, thanks again, Compass Games. This is a revised intro video for Compass Games The War 1939 to 45. And let's end it with this. It's my rule book that I put in the binder. Anyways, thank you, and I will see you after Consum Expo. Because today's Wednesday. I still got to pack my bag and some other things, but we'll get this rolling. I promise, and it will be a good learn to play. And if you've enjoyed my previous ones, you'll hopefully get some value and enjoy this one. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you soon. Bye.